And hello and welcome back to Blake's Den and my 1965 Ford 3000 tractor. And in this video I'm going to remove the starter motor and give it a service. So let's make a start. So why am I removing the starter motor? Well, when I go to start the tractor, this happens. So what is happening there, it's not actually engaging the flywheel on the back of the engine. So there's a Bendix drive on there with inertia that throws a gear out which engages with the flywheel. It's not doing that, it's probably just gunked up and dirty and probably never been serviced. So I'm going to remove that starter motor. It looks fairly easy to take off, he says. There's not an awful lot of room. Hopefully I can get that off. The diesel pump might be in the way. Okay, first thing I want to do, isolate the battery using my isolator here, because you've got a big live feed. This big green wire goes all the way down to the back of the starter motor. You don't want that touching the body. So I'm going to remove the nut which has that feed on from the battery. I think I've actually already had this off before. Because I can't quite get my ratchet in. Let's try with a spanner instead. Of course, I've only got metric spanners with me today, not imperial. So, of course, you can't get in with that because of this stupid little bracket. I just get the feeling it's going to be one of these jobs where I have to remove half the tractor. Maybe to built the whole tractor around the starter motor. Right, anyway, I'm going to persevere and get that off. Right, with that power feed removed, I can now set about removing the bolts which hold it on. 9/16 I think by the looks of it. Yep. Well, I imagine these haven't been off since the day it was built in 1965. Yeah. Luckily they're coming off. In fact, I think the fact is diesel and covered in oil has stopped them all corroding, basically. So that's good. Right, I'll bring you back once I've got these out. So I've done a bit of Googling and there's a third bolt holds the starter on. So you've got one there, then you've got one there, but on the opposite side, which of course you can't get to. Most people actually don't even bother putting it back in when they put it back together because it's so fiddly. I've removed the shield, the drip shield, or whatever it is, from the filter arrangement. Some people say you got to take the filter bowls off, but yeah, it's like, obviously it doesn't help I've got loader brackets on this, but I've somehow got to get behind there with extensions and wobbles and things like that and universal joints and try to find that bolt. So wish me luck. So I think I might have got this using a series of extensions, wobble bars and universal joints. Yeah, that is beginning to unwind now. Cool. So what I think I might actually do, take it off a little bit more, and then I should be able to get the rest of it off by hand. You can reach it with your hand from like the other end of the starter motor, if that makes sense, like from the fixed end, not the free end. So cool. Right, I am going to get this undone. No idea how it's going back together, but we'll hope for the best, and I might just stick with 2 bolts. It might be easier putting a stud in or something like that. Depends if there's enough room. So okay, I'm going to persevere. That's the wobble extension, or the series of 3/8 extensions I used to get it out. bolt came out. The bolt is currently missing in action behind the diesel pump, but let's hope we can get that back. Alright, and now this should be free. So, a little bit of prizing. And it should come off now. I think I've already undone, there's an electrical connection at the top here for the solenoid. I think I might have already done that off camera when I was messing around before. But can you see the issue here? It's just no clearance at all to the diesel pump. That is pretty much wedged there now. I think I might have to push it back in. Easier said than done because it weighs about half a ton. And then there'll be a position I need to get this in, which will enable it to fall out. I don't think we're too far off. I think what's the issue here? Yeah, I think the issue here is the back of the diesel pump will appear to be caught on there. So, right, I'm gonna fiddle with this for a bit. I'll leave the camera running, and then I'll speed this bit up, and hopefully it'll come out. Hey, right. Still got a wire on there. Okay, yeah, that's a feed to the starter solenoid. Right, I need to take that wire off as well. On the bench we can see a bit more what's going on. So the shaft's quite corroded. So what happens is this should slide along that shaft, and that would engage with the flywheel. But it's just so dirty and so sort of gunked up. I've tried making it turn with the trigger in the starter solenoid, but all I get is like sparks. It tries to go, but I don't know, just hasn't quite got enough poke to it. So I'm just going to spend a bit of time cleaning this up carefully, bit of WD-40 on it, but get it nice and clean, and then I'll see whether that makes a difference. Got a bigger battery here. I've got the negative attached to the body. I've just cleaned everything up as well. Positive on the solenoid, and then the trigger wire. So you can see the starter's moving, but that gear is not throwing out as much as it should be. So I'm going to continue cleaning and scrubbing and see if I can get this to work successfully. Right, I think I'm getting somewhere. This whole mechanism, which should slide, is like really stiff. You can see how I've got it moving there a bit. And if I put a screwdriver in and slide it, it sort of begins to go, then freezes up again. So ideally it should slide more than that to engage with the starter ring on the flywheel. So I'm just continuing to work it carefully because I don't want to break the teeth. Just working around gradually, and then hopefully I'll free this off. I have caked it in WD-40 as well in the hope that some will get in there. See, I just moved a fair bit there. So I'm going to keep working away at this until I've got something I'm happy with. Here now, and now when I go to start it, see how that swings, that moves the full length. So that should now work, which is grand. Now, I know from experience, because I did this on my Turner Ranger tractor, the best lubricant to put on the shaft is not WD-40, it's not any sort of penetrating fluid, it's graphite. And I've got some graphite, so I'm going to put some on there, clean up a bit more, and I'll put some on there. Then we'll get this back on the tractor, then we'll be back in business. Right, I found my graphite powder. I'm just going to try and get as much of this onto the shaft as I can do. So it's sort of really fine. And the whole idea why you'd use this over an oil is the oil is sticky, so any dirt in sort of you get in the system, it will basically stick to that oil and gunk it up. The graphite is slippery and will hopefully not attract any sort of dirt or anything like that. So I'm going to put a bit more on. Of course the end has just got clogged up, but go on, let's take the top off and let's just let's go careful and just put some on. You don't need much. There we are. Right, I'm going to work that in and then we'll do a final bench test and then I'll be back out to the tractor. You can tell how slippery this stuff is just putting it on. It's quite interesting really. So I have just put a very thin smear of oil on beforehand as well. I mean not massive amount, but just enough to kind of just make it stick a little bit. So right, quick bench test. Yeah, that's as good as it moves. There's some torque in that motor, but again, I guess you do need torque when you've got 2.9 litres and 3 cylinders. Right, back out on the tractor. I'll save you the video of putting this back on because refitting is a reversal of removal, blah de blah de blah. Right, we're all buttoned back up there. Fairly straightforward. That bolt at the back went in not too bad actually. You could reach your hand in from the other side just to guide it, and then using the long extension it went in. I did lose a bolt. I hate working around here. I put a dust sheet down to catch everything, but I lost a bolt for there, but luckily I had a spare one. And yeah, it all seemed to go to plan. But does it work? Let's find out. Can you believe it? That's the bolt I lost. I've just found it sitting on the tyre. Let's see if this will fire up. So ignition on. We'll give it about half throttle. Stopper's in. It's in neutral. And then it should turn over now. Okay, it's not turning over. I suspect something's happened with the trigger wire and the trigger wire is not on right. Trigger wire had come off. I managed to just get my hand in there and put it back on. So now, ignition on. There's no cold start function on this. There we are. Pulled the old Ford around to pick up this topper. It's a 6-foot topper. It's a bit big for this, but I'll see if it picks it up. I've got it half lifted. So that's with the lift arms fully up. I'll give it a bit of power. Lifting a bit clunky, but it's picking it up. Cool. Right, I'll get this moved round the back. And success, we've got the topper moved. It was a bit wonky, I think the adjuster for the lift arms. So that handle in there is seized, I couldn't get it to level it out. But it's fine for what I needed, I just needed to get it moved out of the way. So, the good old Ford. Plenty of life in the old dog yet. So, yeah, good stuff. I'm going to leave that video there. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have, press that like button below. If you've got any comments, put them below. I respond to all of my comments, no matter how silly they are. And yeah, please consider subscribing to the channel. It makes a really big difference to the YouTube stats. So once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.